In the 1700s, Bengal was one of the richest regions on earth, wealthier than most of the Europe. Its textiles clothed the world, its rivers carried the trade, and its treasury overflowed with silver. But what no one expected was a private trading company, the English East India Company, would turn this prosperity into the foundation of the British rule in India. Before the British, Bengal was a Mughal province ruled by powerful Nawabs. Its capital, Murshidabad, was a financial center backed by Indian bankers like Jagat Seths. European traders, Portuguese, Dutch, French, English, were allowed to trade only with permission here. And among them was the East India Company, founded in 1600 in London. From Bengal, the company exported fine cotton textiles like muslin, calico, silk, saltpeter, and mostly indigo. These goods made the company rich in Europe, but India didn't want the British goods, so the company paid using silver bullion, making Bengal even richer and the company deeply dependent on it. By the late 1600s, the company had already set foot in Bengal. Trading post was set up in Hooghly, Qasim Bazar, and Patna. In 1690, Job Charnock founded Calcutta, and the company gained zamindari rights over three villages, Sutanuti, Kalikata, and Govindapur. This was crucial, and for the first time the company owned land in India. In 1717, the Mughal Emperor Farrukhsiyar issued a royal decree, a farman, that would quietly alter the balance of power in Bengal. At the time, the Mughal Empire was weakening, the court politics in Delhi were unstable, and emperors were increasingly dependent on wealthy merchants and foreign companies for money and military support. The East India Company used this weakness in their favor. The Farman granted the company two crucial privileges in Bengal. First, duty-free trade, and second, the right to issue trade passes known as dastaks, allowing company goods to move freely without paying taxes. On paper, this seemed harmless. These privileges were meant only for company trade to encourage commerce, but in reality, they became tools for exploitation. Company officials began using dastaks for their own private trade. They traded huge quantities of goods without paying taxes, while Indian merchants had to pay full custom duties. The result was devastating. The Nawab of Bengal lost massive revenues, Indian traders were pushed out of competition, and company servants became individually rich. Corruption spread rapidly. The company was no longer trading in Bengal. It was undermining the authority of the state itself. And by 1740s, the East India Company had effectively become a state within a state, collecting profits, commanding soldiers, and ignoring local laws. In Calcutta, the company began expanding and strengthening Fort William, its main base in Bengal. Officially, the fortifications were meant to defend against European rivals, especially the French. But to the Nawab of Bengal, this was something else entirely. In the Mughal system, only the ruler had the right to build forts. A trading company fortifying itself without permission was not just defense, it was a direct challenge to the sovereignty. When Siraj became Nawab in 1756, he inherited a province rich but increasingly disrespected. Young, assertive, and determined to restore authority, Siraj saw company not as partners but as rebels, and he decided to act. Siraj issued clear demands to the company: stop strengthening Fort William, end the misuse of dastaks, and obey the laws of Bengal. The company ignored him. To Siraj, this was an open defiance. In 1756, he marched on Calcutta, captured Fort William, and temporarily expelled the company. In retaliation, the company sent Robert Clive, an ambitious officer with military experience and political cunning. Within months, Clive retook Calcutta, restored company's control, and began planning revenge. But Clive understood something crucial. The company could not defeat Bengal by force alone, so it turned to conspiracy. Behind the scene, the company began secret negotiations. They contacted Mir Jafar, the commander of Siraj's army, and Jagat Seth, Bengal's most powerful banking family, both of them who had lost trust in Siraj. Their deal was simple. Mir Jafar would become Nawab, the company would receive enormous sums of money, and during battle, Mir Jafar would not fight. This was not a military plan, it was a political assassination. Siraj, unaware of the betrayal, prepared to face the company in open battle, a mistake that will cost his life. Battle of Plassey was fought on 23rd June 1757. The two forces met at Plassey on the banks of Bhagirathi River. Siraj's position was strong, around 50,000 troops, war elephants, and heavy artillery, as compared to the company's 3,000 soldiers, a small but disciplined force, and European-style artillery. But numbers did not matter, because Mir Jafar did nothing. As the battle began, large sections of the Nawab's army stood still. A sudden monsoon rain damaged Siraj's gunpowder, and the company's gunpowder remained dry. Confusion spread and chaos unleashed, and within hours the battle was over. Siraj fled, but he was captured and later killed. The Battle of Plassey lasted less than a day, but it changed the history of Bengal forever. After the war, Mir Jafar was crowned the new Nawab of Bengal, but he was Nawab only in name, a de facto power, because the real power now lay within the hands of East India Company. The company received huge payments from Bengal's treasury, control over the administration, and political dominance without a direct rule. Bengal's wealth now financed company's armies, British wars, and expansion across the region. The Battle of Plassey in 1757 represented a decisive turning point in Indian history. Although limited in military scope, the conflict resulted in the East India Company acquiring effective control over the Bengal region, an outcome without precedent for a private commercial enterprise. Access to Bengal's vast revenue and administrative machinery enabled the company to consolidate its position and expand its influence across the region. Ultimately, the significance of Plassey lies not in the tactical conduct of the battle itself, but in how economic advantage and strategic political alignments translated into enduring political authority, marking the beginning of British colonial dominance in the subcontinent.